Hello there YouTube, just like to give you guys a short review of the Kayfun Lite Plus version 2. Basically I purchased this from eBay I would say about a month ago, and at first I didn't really like it. I know there was a big hype about Kayfuns, but when I first tested it out it really had a very tight draw. uh, Obviously, I've been vaping on RDA, and a lot of them are pretty airy to start with when it comes to the draw. But with the Kayfun, it was really tight. I really struggled, setting it up properly when it comes to wicking, but the tight draw definitely kind of steered me away from using it. But after watching Dave Mods from Cloud 50, you can obviously search him on YouTube. He modified the air holes on his Kayfun 3.1, so that kind of gave me an idea as far as what to do with my Kayfun to basically get better airflow and to have a looser draw and increase vapor production. So basically on his, and if you look him up on YouTube, Cloud 50, he gives you an in-depth procedure on how he modified his Kayfun's airflow. So basically for mine, since this is the light version, obviously a little bit different than the 3.1. Let me start out by showing you the air hole right at the deck, at the bottom of the deck there. I'm not sure what it started with as far as the diameter of the hole, but it's pretty tiny. So what I did was, well, I drilled it as big as I could. Basically, if you look at it closely, it's not really sitting. The air hole is not, it's started out kind of high from this piece of the deck, so if it was in the middle then I could have drilled it bigger, but the biggest that I could drill this out to was a 7/64 drill bit. And if you're gonna use a drill bit, I would recommend using a cobalt drill bit, because if you use anything else like a standard high-speed drill bit, you're gonna break it and it's not gonna work. Cobalt is definitely made for harder materials, so it drilled this out pretty easily, no issues. But obviously I used, not obviously, but I have a drill press, so I didn't have, I didn't have problems drilling it out. Basically all you're gonna do is, basically for the Kayfun Lite, the airflow goes from this hole right here, goes through the center post, and the center post is, part of it is hollow, goes through the center post and up. So basically I just disassembled the deck, removed the center post, and I looked at when I was drilling it, I'm looking at where the positive pin is at, and when I was drilling it I just made sure it cleared it all the way through. I didn't drill all the way through past this hole, so it's just when I started to see the drill bit tip, I stopped right there. And also, as you can see, there's supposed to be a set screw there, but I removed that completely since, like I said, I like an airy draw, so I didn't bother. I really don't need to adjust it, so I just took it off completely. So yeah, I used a 7/64 drill bit again, and so you can tell, I don't know if you can tell, but it's pretty much right at the top of this deck, part of the deck right here. I mean, there's barely any material there. So like I said, if the hole was drilled right at the middle of this material, I could have probably used either a 1/8 inch drill bit or something. It's just the next one up from the 7/64, so I probably could have used a 1/8 inch drill bit, but since it started kind of high, I didn't want to risk taking too much material off. So that's the 764 is the biggest I could drill this out to. So that's the first thing I did. Oh, first thing I did, and the second thing I did was I also used a countersink bit, which is one of these right here, to put a little bevel on the hole, so it's not just squared. There's a little bit of a bevel there. You can't tell because this is, you might be able to tell, but see, there's a slight bevel on the edge of the air hole there, so it's not completely squared off. You know, Dave Moss from Cloud 50, that was his recommendation, or that's what he does with his Kayfuns. And the other thing I did is also on the center post, there's two holes on each side of the center post, center pin, I'm sorry. This center pin right here, if you take this out, there's two holes on each side, and then basically from then on, from that to the top of that, or the bottom of that screw is hollow. Basically that's where the airflow goes through. What I did with that is, I guess, you know, I kind of drilled that out slightly bigger too. I know he kind of mentioned not doing that because it might weaken the integrity of the screw there, but I kind of went ahead and did it. I just, you know, try to remember when I'm disassembling it and reassembling it that I don't over tighten that that screw to the block inside on top of the deck. So it, you know, I try not to force it or over tighten it to make sure it doesn't break. And the other thing is too, with those two holes, from the start it already had a slight bevel on it. I guess it was countersunk, but I went ahead and enlarged that countersunk using the same countersink bit. So that's the third modification I did with this Kayfun. And the fourth thing I did was the juice wells are kind of tiny, you know, inside the deck there. You know, there's one kind of horizontal and then the vertical up to the top of the deck. Pretty much enlarged those channels just a little bit, you know, not too much where it's gonna continually flow through there and flood the top of the deck all the time. So, and what I used on that was one of these bits right here. Basically, this is called a carbide cutting bit. It's for a Dremel tool or a rotary bit, and I just kind of, you know, kind of enlarge it a little bit. It's not too difficult to do it. So that's the other thing I did to modify this, to increase the airflow. And basically with all those modifications, it seems to be performing a lot better now with those modifications, you know, just with the airflow alone and slightly enlarging the juice channels there. Again, now this is, other than my Fogger V4 Plus, this is the other Addy that I use most of the time, you know. I just kind of go back and forth between the two, because before, this is pretty much parked, and you know, I pretty much don't use this before the modification, because like I said, I dislike that tight draw, and without those modifications you can't really do anything with it. I know some people stated that it takes some time to get used to, but I was like, it's too tight for me, basically, you know. I had to do something, and the thing is, I saw Dave Moss from Cloud 50 do a video on how to modify Kayfuns to increase the airflow, and and that's pretty much, I kind of try to mirror his, pretty much I kind of follow his instructions, and I really thank him for that. So, and now, like I said, it's been working pretty good, you know, as far as airflow, and then vapor production. Flavor's still there, but definitely a lot better airflow with those modifications. And then the other thing I picked up from Dave Mods from Cloud 50 was when I bought the Kayfun, you know, it's basically a brushed stainless steel finish. What I did recently was polished it. Basically, I sanded all the parts down. Well, not all parts of the deck, just this part of the deck. I sanded it. And this top cap, but this is a custom top cap. You know, I got this off eBay too. This is not the original Kayfun Lite V2 top cap. This is a custom top cap I bought from eBay. And also the chamber and chimney inside I polished. So you can see it's got a slight mirror finish. I know you can get some Kayfun. I'm not sure about the Plus. I don't know if you can get it in a polished finish, but I know the 3.1 you can get it in a polished finish. But this is a light version, and I already have it, so I'm not gonna buy another one just to get a polished finish. So I went ahead and sanded it down using started with a 600 grit, and then after that I moved up to I think 1500, and then finally, well, not finally, but the third is the 2000 grit. And then finally I finished it off on my grinder using a buffing wheel and a buffing compound, the green stuff, for get that mirror finish. So it didn't take a long time, you know. It probably took me about, say, less than an hour. And to make it easy for me, you know, sanding, I guess, round objects, you know, it's pretty not easy, and not too hard, but just to make it easy for myself, you know, I pretty much use the drip tip I don't use for this top cap, and I chucked it on my drill press, and you know, I just let it run, and I just wet a sandpaper and I kind of press it against it, you know, so it's pretty even instead of kind of going around it each time manually. So that's what I did. And same thing with the chimney. What did I do with it? I left it on the deck. You know, I have it screwed down on the deck. The chamber and chimney, and then the deck. And then I used what the hell did I use? Well, I chucked the 510. I think I used something to protect the 510. So it doesn't damage the threads. And same thing, I chucked it, let it run, and then I just pressed the sandpaper, you know, on whatever part I want to polish. So just to make it easy. But if you don't have the drill press, you probably have a drill, and you can do that too there. You know, just let it run, and then just wet your sandpaper and kind of press it against the object you want to sand down, or round object you want to sand down, so you'll get a good even finish. And again, use the buffing wheel, get that really mirror finish. I think I need to work on the top cap a little bit more, but the chimney, pretty good, turned out pretty good. Same thing with the deck there. So I know some of you don't like polished items because, you know, it's a fingerprint magnet, but I don't really care about that. I can wipe it, you know, easy stuff, not too complicated. So basically, like I said, I'll show you guys. I mean, if you have a Kayfun if you have a Kayfun, you like that tight draw, it's fine. But for those of you that kind of not using the Kayfun because of the tight draw, those modifications I stated earlier, try those out, and you'll definitely feel a big improvement when it comes to the draw, airflow, overall performance of the Addy, and vapor production. So I have it on my custom-made one box mod here that I reviewed on my earlier video. Basically, I made the box mod because of the, I guess it lengthens the use. You know, if you just have a single battery, you know, it'll probably last me about an hour or two, maybe 3 hours, depending on what I'm using as far as, you know, resistance on my atomizer. But, you know, I can pretty much go 2 days with this. You know, I've had this box for about a week now, and you know, obviously I charge my batteries overnight too, so I don't really, but I'm pretty sure it can last maybe 2 days worth of vaping. But I think the batteries I have in here are maybe about, I'd say 4 volts, and the build I have in my Kayfun is I think it's a 0.6. It's between 0.6 0.7. So, and I have a regular 50/50 juice in there, strawberries and cream flavor from the Popping Pirates at Greenville, North Carolina. So, and I just have a regular brass strip tip there, wide bore. So there we go. Got my garage open, so if you see the vapors kind of going everywhere, that's why. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. The coil I have in here is not a micro coil. Well, it started out as a micro coil, but I kind of, I guess, pulled it apart slightly, so there's a small gaps between the wires. So it's not a completely, it's not an actual micro coil where it's all pressed together. So it's kind of loose, slightly loose a little bit. And then the wick I'm using is the 100% rayon, the Cellucana I purchased from Sally's Beauty Supply. And let me tell you, that's the other thing that kind of made me start using this atomizer again, is that rayon wick. And it definitely wicks a lot faster than cotton. You know, obviously I haven't tried silica or any of the other types of cotton, but compare the rayon with the regular organic cotton, the rayon performs a lot better. And I mean, I can chain vape this without priming it, but you know, and that's how good it wicks. Still no dry hit. I don't, like I said, I don't even prime it. You know, every other, you know, some people prime it every 5 puffs or 10 puffs, whatever, but I don't do it. That's how good the rayon is when it comes to wicking. there you have it, folks. My modified Kayfun Lite Plus V2. If you want the more detailed instruction on how to modify it, go look up Cloud50 on YouTube and search his channel, and it'll give you all the details on how to modify your Kayfun. Alright, thank you for watching.